You reach for it without thinking. A biscuit, a handful of sweets, a second slice when you promised yourself there would only be one. And the moment it hits your tongue, something in you exhales, something quiets, something says, yes, this is what you needed. But here is what nobody tells you. That feeling is not a weakness. It is not a flaw in your character. It is one of the oldest survival programs in the history of your species, still running inside you, thousands of years after it stopped being useful. Your relationship with sugar did not begin at the vending machine. It did not begin in childhood. It began roughly 300,000 years ago on a planet that had no candy bars, no fizzy drinks, no pastry sections. It began in a world where sweetness was rare, precious, and almost always meant one thing: energy that could keep you alive. Think about what your ancestors' life actually looked like, not the version with fire and tools and community, the version before any of that got reliable, the version where every single morning the question was whether you would find enough food today to survive until tomorrow. In that world, your body had to make a very important decision very fast. When you found something sweet, did you eat a little and move on? Or did you eat everything you could find as fast as possible because you had no idea when sweet would appear again? The ancestors who ate everything survived. The ones who showed restraint did not. You are descended from the ones who could not stop. That is not a metaphor. That is evolution, and it is running inside you right now. Researcher Gordon Shepherd at Yale has spent years studying how flavor actually works in the human brain, and one of the things that becomes clear from his work is that sweetness does not just taste good, it triggers a cascade. Dopamine floods the reward centers. The brain marks the experience as important, as memorable, as worth repeating. The brain in that moment is not thinking about your waistline or your blood sugar. It is doing exactly what it evolved to do: mark a rare energy source as something to seek out again. This is the system that kept your species alive, and now it is pointing itself at a supermarket aisle that has 47 varieties of biscuit. The mismatch is almost comic if you step back far enough to see it. For the vast majority of human history, finding something sweet required serious effort. You had to know which plants produced fruit at what time of year. You had to track seasonal patterns, outcompete other animals, travel significant distances, and often risk injury or exposure to get to the reward. The sweetness that existed in nature, ripe fruit, certain roots, raw honey found in a tree hollow, was genuinely hard to come by. Your brain evolved to treat it as exceptional because it was. Now consider what happened in the last 200 years. Sugar went from being a luxury spice that only the wealthy could afford, to a table staple, to an industrial ingredient that gets added to almost everything processed: bread, pasta sauces, salad dressings, foods you would never guess. Researchers at the University of North Carolina, led by Barry Popkin, have found that well over half of all packaged food products in the United States contain some form of added sugar. Not because it is nutritionally necessary, but because your brain responds to it, because manufacturers know your ancient wiring and they have optimized their products to trigger it. You are not overeating sugar because you lack discipline. You are overeating sugar because you are running ancient software in a world that has been specifically engineered to exploit it. Now, here is where it gets stranger, because it is not just about calories, it is not just about energy. Researcher Robert Lustig, an endocrinologist at the University of California, San Francisco, has argued extensively that fructose, the specific sugar found in fruit and in most added sweeteners, is processed by your liver in a way that bypasses the normal satiety signals. The hormones that tell your brain you have had enough food do not respond to fructose the way they respond to other nutrients. Your gut sends the signal. Your brain never quite receives it with the same urgency. The switch that should flip and say stop does not fully flip, so you eat more. Not because your body is broken, because your body was never designed to encounter fructose in these concentrations. The fruit your ancestor ate in a single sitting gave them maybe 10-15 grams of sugar, wrapped in fiber that slowed absorption and filled the stomach. A single can of fizzy drink gives you around 40 grams of fructose with nothing to slow it down. Your body has no evolved response for that. It was never supposed to need one. And then there is the psychology layered on top of the biology. By the time you are 2 years old, sweetness has already been woven into your emotional map: reward, celebration, comfort. Studies by psychologist Jennifer Nasser have traced how early food conditioning shapes adult craving responses, finding that the associations made between sweet food and positive emotional states in childhood can persist for a lifetime. The biscuit you reach for when you are stressed is not random. It is a shortcut to a feeling your brain learned to associate with safety and love before you had language to name either. This is the triple lock: ancient survival instinct, biological reward circuitry, emotional conditioning, all three pulling in the same direction. and then the food industry pulls alongside them with 17 flavors of the same product and packaging designed to communicate treat and deserving, and you have worked hard today. You never stood a chance. None of this was ever really about willpower. And the craving itself, that pull you feel mid-afternoon, that is not a simple thing either. It has a rhythm. Cortisol, the stress hormone, naturally dips in the early afternoon for most people. Blood sugar follows. Energy drops. The brain, always scanning for efficiency, sends out the signal, replenish fast. And fast means sweet. Before grocery stores, that signal sent your ancestor toward a berry bush. Now it sends you toward the snack drawer. Same signal, completely different consequence. This is what researchers mean when they talk about evolutionary mismatch. The term was formalized in the work of scientists like Randolph Nesse and George Williams, who showed that many of the chronic health problems in modern populations are not diseases in the traditional sense. They are ancient adaptations encountering modern environments they were never built for. Your craving for sugar is not a malfunction, it is a feature that has become a liability. And knowing this changes something, because when you reach for that second biscuit, you are not failing. You are experiencing a 300,000-year-old instruction trying to execute in a world it does not recognize. The instruction is not wrong. The world around it is simply unrecognizable. Your brain is doing exactly what brains like yours have always done. It is trying to keep you alive with tools built for a reality that no longer exists. The question is not how to fight the craving. Fighting instinct is exhausting and rarely works. The question is how to understand it clearly enough to work around it. Eat before the afternoon dip. Keep the snack drawer stocked with things that satisfy the ancient signal without triggering the overconsumption loop. Do not shame the reaching hand. Recognize what it is and redirect it. There is something almost tender in it when you see it fully. Some part of you is still out there on that ancient hillside, scanning the landscape, hoping to find something sweet before the sun goes down. Still running the calculations of a world where sweetness meant survival. Still trying, against all evidence to the contrary, to keep you alive. Tonight, when you reach for something sweet without thinking, pause for just a moment, not to stop yourself, just to notice. That pull you feel is older than agriculture, older than language, older than almost everything you think of as human. It kept your ancestors alive through thousands of years of scarcity, and now it is standing in your kitchen, looking for a berry bush, finding a biscuit instead. Now you have a better understanding of how your brain craves sugar. I hope you guys enjoyed this educational video, and if you did, then please feel free to like and subscribe for more educational videos in the future. Thank you.